You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
Okay, now I'm going to go through this methodically. There are so many things
You had
I
a
need
whole
to
week to
ask
change
you.
that song to If
what?
I Could Turn Back Time.
There are so many things. Someone's just rang me there. I know that number, and I'm wondering why they've rang just as I'm about to do this. Maybe because they know I'm just about to do this, but I'm not answering it because we put it on silent. Now, Wayne,
Yes.
first of all, I notice I thought someone has come into my car spot. I've seen the biggest sort of, it's like a bus you've got out there. Is this just you got a lend of it, or what is that out there?
No, we needed a people mover, so we got rid of the other cars. And
You've got rid of it. This is your permanent car.
This is it. So it just can fit all the kids and friends and everything else.
And mothers?
And mother. No, maybe not enough room for all the mothers. But definitely
what
the
I
kids.
want to see you do is when it's loaded up with all the kids and the mothers and the relations, I want to see you go down the inside lane in a line of traffic and then butt that thing in. See how you go with that.
Well, I have noticed it's a little harder to.
That's right.
To weave in and out.
Well, that should
of traffic. So it might
give
slow
the
me down.
Victorian driving public a nice break, rather than have you just pleasing yourself on how you drive your car while everyone else is waiting in
I've
turn.
got the windows. The windows are nice and tinted too, just so you can't.
Yes. Now, so you're sponsored by those people, or
No.
So we don't need to mention what sort of
No,
car it is
no,
or
no,
where
no,
you
no.
got it, because you're not.
No. I used
bought
to be.
it.
I used to be, but yes,
Yeah,
correct.
but
Bought it. Yes. So
wow.
no, I once put it. No, we don't have to mention them. They don't do anything.
No, that's right. If they don't do anything for you, why would you mention that you're driving a big Mercedes people mover? Now, Wayne, I came back from Perth a couple of days ago. You would not. I know. I can make this up, but I'm not. You would not believe the number of people who listen to us over there, and very complimentary.
Global.
What?
Are we global?
We're global. You wait till I tell you about me. They're very complimentary about you. And
I love how you say that. Most of them are probably walking up going, oh, he's a flog. Or, you're very
Wayne,
complimentary.
if they said you're a flog, don't worry.
You'd tell me.
I would tell you.
Okay.
They said you're a fucking imbecile. No, they're very complimentary about
that's
you.
nice.
And this woman, she was a woman. She came up and she was very nice, and she said, would you give this to Wayne? I love him. I have no idea what this is. I said I deliberately won't open it.
Whereabouts was this?
This was at I did spoke to 6 different functions while I was over there. Got cancelled from one. You wait till I tell you about the one I got cancelled from. This was the first one. I think I have no idea where it was. I don't know where it was, but anyhow, I said I'll give it to you on air. So we're filming this, and you can look at us on what can you look at? You Cannot Be Serious podcast. Is that what it's called on YouTube? So I don't know what it is.
So it's
I
not
haven't
anthrax,
looked at
is
it. Well, I don't know. That got ripped
it
in my
is, we're
bag.
both
I
done.
deliberately.
And Sue.
Do you want to open this on? Could be anything. I don't know what it is, and I don't know who gave it to me, but she'll tell you. Well, go on, open it. What could it be? She was nice. What is it? What is it?
Oh, this is brilliant. She's got a good sense of humour, this lady. Do you remember her name? Give her a
What's
shout
in
out.
there? She wrote you a card, I think. She
well,
said,
I've got
go
it
on.
before
Well, read it out. Get on with it.
Hang on.
Yeah.
What's her legs and body? Oh, she's got a good sense of humour.
I don't know. It's a long little thing, is it?
A little bit long to read out.
Oh, well.
Sam.
It's to you.
It's addressed to you. Sam, a long story short, I found your podcast last year during a time in my life that was extremely low, escaping a domestic violent relationship. I work as a community technician, and every week I would ask 14.
I wonder if she minds you reading this out.
I won't, but she's got a couple of gifts. So this wasn't for me, it was for you. Her name's Kelly. I won't say
Kelly,
her last
that's
name.
her. That was her name.
Your biggest fan. Oh, she's from Bunbury.
That's where I was.
She's
yep,
from Bunbury.
that's correct.
Bunbury's a beautiful part of the world,
Yes,
actually.
I
I've
was
been
down-
to Bunbury. I've got a friend there that has a restaurant on the water, Jenny, who runs a very nice restaurant. Anyway, Kelly, and she's got a good sense of humour because look what she's done. She's given us Caltrate. Have
What?
you heard of Caltrate?
Caltrate.
Yeah, I think that's...
Calcium.
Yeah, brittle bone medicine. She's
That's for
given
me.
Well, obviously that's for you.
Oh, yeah. So throughout the course of speaking at these 6 functions I was at, they said, "How are you, Chalky?" I said, "Who are you speaking to?" They said, "You got chalky bones."
And then this is obviously for me.
Oh, what is it?
So this is Veet. This is for legs and body wax strips. So we've got a...
You wrap that around the plums.
Yeah, so just put that on the...
All right, well, there you are. Well done, Kelly.
Well done,
Could have been
Kelly.
anything. So
Thank you.
Just shows you. So
we'll read that properly, Kelly, amongst ourselves. We won't read the whole letter out on the podcast, but after listening to you on the duck discussing, no. So, well, the gift is for your brittle bones. Don't worry, just because you are so... Issue doesn't mean you need to take calcium tablets for old people bones. I'm 41 and take them daily. Okay, there you go.
Right.
So that's
all right.
here we go. She says gonads here. One being how Wayne loves to have his gonads groomed. I thought it'd be a nice gift for him. So so we got it.
Something for both of us.
So we got it right. We got at least we guessed that
well
the
done,
gifts
Kelly.
were
No,
right.
she was a very nice person. So she listened, and so did most of the people at the function. So just an occupational hazard. I had my leg in a boot. and I had a crutch. It took me 25 minutes to go through the airport security. So when they see you coming with your leg in a boot and a crutch, they shepherd you over to a special aisle. And wow, do they go over you. They must think I'm you because they check the crutch to see if it's got any painkillers.
Anti-inflams,
Yes, anti-inflams stuck down the leg of the crutch. And then
I'm not sure anti-inflams come up on the monitor.
Well, I'll tell you what. They went over it, and then they man who puts gloves on, and does he body search you? My word, he actually has a cavity. He inserts himself into your cavities. He stuck his finger up my ring. He fondled.
What?
No, well, he didn't. He's a very nice man. He said, "I'm sorry, we got to do this." I said, "Oh no," did the old line. I said, "What do you think I've actually got on me, mate?" He said, "Well," he said, "you know, you got a crutch and you got a boot." So that was us. So they did that, and then did they go over the boot? They thought it must have had a false heel in it, and I was carrying fucking contraband or banned products and
boot. You know what's amazing about those and by the way, they're all new now. So if you fly into Sydney and obviously Melbourne, I think Perth's old school, I think, from memory. No, so when you're flying out of Perth, I think, now at the airport you don't have to take your laptop out or your iPad, or you can have a can of deodorant in the bag and it doesn't matter anymore. So you leave all of that in your bag now, but guess what you got to take off? Your belt.
Yep.
What can you fit in a belt?
I know that's
what can you possibly fit in your belt or your shoe, or you can't have a jacket on or a hat. So these machines, these U-Butte $1 million machines, can't pick up anything in a bloody belt.
They scanned the boot and the crutch, and that was only the half of it. So then I had to go through the thing, and you put your hands up. Well, the metal, but you've got one. The metal thing in my shoulder went off. It was like I won a jackpot at the casino. It went bonga bonga bonga, and then he scanned down where I've just had the metal ankle inserted, and that went bonga bonga. There's people. They swarming around me like flies. They thought there's something going on here. And so I eventually got through, but I got to the end there and I was just about to pick up my case.
Hang on, is that leaving Melbourne or is that coming back through Perth?
That's leaving Melbourne.
That's leaving Melbourne.
Both
airports.
Got on the plane to go to Kalgoorlie in one of these gigs I did. Yep. That went through the whole procedure again, going and coming back every time we got in the plane. And I thought, no, I'm going well here. And suddenly I get there and the woman said, "Is this your bag?" Oh, she was nice. She said, "Is this your bag, sir?" I said, "It is, as a matter of fact." She said, "Could you open it up?" And I said, "Yes, what have we detected something?" She said, "Could you open it up, please?" And in they went, and they found a pair of scissors, which were probably about the scissors you couldn't.
No,
have,
they're little. They're like nose scissors or
they're little nail scissors.
Nail scissors.
And I did them to cut the adhesive bandage that I was wrapping around my ankle so it wouldn't swell.
But didn't they pick that up in the other airports?
Yes, no, they
So
picked that up.
only one picked it
No,
up?
they picked that up leaving here, Melbourne.
Oh, they
so
did,
they
yeah.
removed the scissors, and everyone does the line. I didn't do the line saying, "Yeah, I could do some damage with them." I mean, you better just whip them out. But I didn't do. I'm sure every smart ass does that. So anyhow, so that was my that was the thing. So I'm happy for you to be. I just wanted to mention 3 things. I don't have to do them now. That you couldn't make this stuff up. You couldn't make this stuff up. So the first was I got cancelled from the. Let me just tell you, I got cancelled from the North. And I want to give them a shout out because I want to give them a shout out to these people. If I can just find the fucking thing, it's on this phone here. I want to give them a shout out because they had to. By Jesus, where has it gone? I've got it here somewhere. From the North Bank Football Club. The what? North Beach Football Club. They had sold tickets, and then when they knew I was coming, and then someone complained that I was coming, and I got cancelled. And I want to apologise. I'm sending a shout out to the North. Oh, thank you, Sue. Why couldn't I find that? So I want to give a shout out to the North Beach Football Club. And I want to apologise to all those people who thought I was going to speak at it, because what they did is they substituted the speakers with some boring beige people who just get asked questions and just dribble on. And so they said why I got cancelled. This is me.
Yeah.
This was to the agent. Given recent comments in Melbourne media, the North Beach Football Club has made the decision to seek alternative media personality for our upcoming sportsman's lunch. These people were waiting for me to entertain them, and could I entertain them? Comments do not align with our club values as a diverse and inclusive community. We believe adjusting the tone of the function is necessary to better reflect these core values, both within the club and across the broader community. The club has some alternative offers and will update on the present replacement. There will be no further comment on this matter.
Who was the replacement?
Well,
The Pope himself. Was it? Well,
So now
always
they
surprises me about footy clubs that do that type of thing. Any footy club or any organisation.
So it says.
I'm pretty sure they could go through their footy club and
given recent comments in the media, didn't mention me by name. Well, that's so I thought.
Which ones?
Would those comments be the only comments I make, which are vaguely controversial, but I reckon 90% of the community agree with, is not having biological men play biological women's sport. Trans people playing women's sport.
I did say there was a word in there, inclusive.
Yeah, inclusive. The next one will be the next one I'm on about, and I'm still on about it, and make no apology. The welcome to country nonsense.
Yep.
I'd be very happy to discuss that with anyone. If you just look into the history of that and how it happened and why it's just gained a leg and why it's gained some popularity, I can absolutely argue that conclusively, and people have had a gutful of it. And the other one would be perhaps that I'm a Trump supporter, and I say that. So I don't know what other controversial things I say other than transport, welcome to country, and being a Trump supporter, and that they cancelled me because I don't reflect their values. And the people who went to that luncheon would absolutely, I know, wholeheartedly agree with me, or why would they have booked me in the first place?
They might have learned something as well, and there is such thing called free speech, as we know, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. And I would guarantee you this, Sam, as you well know, I don't have to tell you, but there would be people at that footy club that share many people that share the same
90% of the
share the
people
same
would.
views.
And
So
they've got a weak, gutless, insipid, cowardly people in the top office who
generally
get
it
a
takes-
phone call from someone and say, "Oh,
the amazing
really?"
thing is, it takes one person. It takes this is what's happening in society. Full stop. It only takes one person to be disgruntled, and
That's right.
And so the minorities are ruling the world. The tail's wagging the dog.
yeah.
It is.
And
it
what
is
about the top
ludicrous.
office that make that decision to cancel people like me? They should say, if you don't want to come, don't buy a ticket. Thank you very much
Well, it's
for your...
not you know what? It's not a puzzle.
What they did is they deprived the people who went to it from being... I am excellent at what I speak
I know
about.
you are. I know
Thank
you are.
you very much.
You're very good.
Yes,
You're very
very
good.
good. So
everyone had a good time.
I don't know if anyone had a good time, but I went to 6 sellout functions around Perth in the interim.
Good to see
and
you.
I didn't lose any money from that because they'd prepaid.
Oh,
but
that's
I
even
don't
better.
go. I don't go for the money.
No, I know you don't. You go. You know what? You go. You enjoy.
I do.
Entertaining people. You enjoy talking. You know your truth. You enjoy telling stories, and you're very good at it.
So let me tell you this.
Oh, well, they missed out.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
So I went to the 2022 grand final with someone. I only went because they wanted to come in on it used to be called a ladies' ticket, but now it's a guest pass. So I arrive at the gate. There's a reason I'm telling you this. This is in 2022, Geelong playing the Swans, and I have a collared T-shirt on, collared like this here,
Yep.
if you can see it. And I walked
Polo?
to polo, and the person doing her job said, "Sam, you can't come in. You've got to have a tie." And I said, "Oh, do I?" So I went down to the MCG shop and I bought an MCC tie and I put it on, and I came back and she said, "No, Sam, you must have a tailored shirt, one with that's been manufactured by a white shirt that has a peak tie that's been starched." And I said, "Oh." And I said, "I see. So we might just let you in," but she looked down and I had some slip-on shoes that didn't have laces. She said, "You can't come in without shoes that don't have laces in them." And I said, "Hey, I had slacks on and a coat. I was looking fantastic. There's blokes walking in with tattoos from arsehole to breakfast time. They've got dreadlocks. They've got rings through their nose, but they've got a tailored shirt on and shoes with laces." So last year, the reason I'm telling you this way, last year I I was up in Airlie Beach and I got a through my membership at the MCC. I'm a 50-year member. I got a ticket and I gave it to someone because I wasn't coming, and the person got to the ground, flew over from Perth for the game, and wasn't allowed in because I had given my ticket to someone else, not my member's ticket, the ticket I burnt on my guest pass.
Yeah.
And they said I wasn't accompanying them, and I said I was in Airlie Beach. And I said, they said, unless you have a doctor's certificate to say that you couldn't attend, which I did because my ankle was stuffed, they said, we're suspending you for a year. You can't go to this coming year's grand final. So in light of all that, well, I don't care because I'd never go to the grand final. If the Swans are in it, I'll never go again. If the Swans get into another grand final, that's it. I've seen them play twice. Once in 2022 and they lost by 80 points, and last year when they lost by 80 points. So you can imagine I'm over in my room in Perth and I see two youths of Middle Eastern appearance get into the MCG with loaded handguns. And I thought, fuck me. I haven't got laces in my shoes.
I was wondering where the punchline was
I
coming.
haven't got laces in my shoes, and I didn't have a proper tie
Not
on.
laughing at people going into the MCG. I was just wondering where the punchline was coming.
Well, so I read, it said, 2 people have been apprehended with loaded handguns. I thought, you can't make this shit up.
You can't be serious.
You cannot be serious. I thought, my God. So that's the second thing, and I'm going to just tell you this. I'm sorry.
So have you fixed that up? Because this is the thing. But this is society now. This is the world we live in. The common sense rule. Like, surely you're well dressed. You go to the effort. You go and put a tie on, and they nitpick at these little things.
They do. This is my point.
And deliberately, and then you're not giving your guest pass. I mean, they are small things, and then, like you said, then they let someone else through with 3 times the amount of things that you're not meant to be let through. It's like when you park under the MCG. And the security there, by the way, they're always very nice to me. But I remember I came through there one particular day, and there was a line-up behind me, Sam. This is just another example about... Now, I know they're just doing their job, but come on. You've got a bottle of... You might have, some wine in the back. In the back, you're not going into the... You're not going to sit in the car park and scull and cork a wine and scull it or take it up into the, Triple M box or anything like that. But it's in the back. Oh, you can't take that in because that's... Okay, well, you keep that there. Then I remember I had a drink, an orange juice or an apple juice or something, or a tropical, whatever it was. Yeah. And it was opened. You can't go in with the open drink. And I said, well, it's half. I'll take half of it. Yeah. I'll just, and there was a line-up to come in to the car park. And I said, no worries. I said, I'll finish that off here. And I just sat back, looked at the security while I just sipped at it for a couple of minutes. Like just being a smart aleck. Yeah. But it's just the stupidity and the things that we go through. And then they make you open up all the car. You've got to get out. They wand you down. They open up the car. They don't go through your car. I got a backpack in the back of the car. They didn't go through the backpack, but they wand me down. They put a thing under the car. You know what it is? It is garbage.
You put people in a uniform and they go...
No, but it's not their fault.
It's not their fault. I know, they're very nice people who...
It is garbage. It is a tokenism security at its absolute best.
You would walk in after you've drunk the morning juice or something, and you walk in and you'd sit next and you'd say... You'd look over and there'd be a bloke there of Middle Eastern appearance. He's got a handgun sticking out of his pocket of his jeans, and you'd say... My word! You can't make this shit up.
And and then if you want to, if you're that way inclined and you want to just run on the oval with your gear off, I'm 53 and I don't reckon one of those guys could catch me. I reckon I could stay out there for 20 minutes, just running around, dodging and weaving. And
so here's
the only time they catch anyone is when they slip over. They don't take the Jew into account on a Friday night.
The Jew. No, that's correct. Speaking of that, you can't make this up either. So you might remember I spoke to a neo-Nazi here, and all hell broke loose.
Oh, I know the story.
Hang on, all hell broke loose because I thought I'd speak to a person of interest, because the media make this person of interest because they keep, and I thought I'll ask him what he's on about.
Putting them on current affair and on the news and everything else.
And then the dribbling little ill-bred people on Media Watch on the ABC.
No, you said this last week.
I'm saying it again.
Okay.
So they rounded me up, and then there's a man, genuine low IQ dribbler called Abramovich from some council. He rounded me up and said I should be sacked from the AFL Hall of Fame because I interviewed. So I'm lying. You can only get free-to-air television.
If he says that, then no TV station should be allowed to go to air because they put them on their TV. They put them on the news.
What a very, very interesting thing you said, Wayne. I'm about to show you something. So I'm lying in my little room, a hotel room, and they only have free-to-air television. How many fucking cooking shows and travel shows can a free-to-air television put in? There's every silly prick who can start a gas burner shows you how to make food. Who cares how you make food? Does anyone write the recipe down and think, oh, shit, I'll remember that? Anyhow, so I'm lying back. This is the ABC who rounded me up and said I should be disbarred from actually ever living again. I look up there and it's got I'm going to show it to you. I hope you can read it. It says, Louis Theroux speaks to and spends a day with the Nazis. goes into their home, chats to them about what they eat, what makes them. That's it there. I don't know if you can see it. I took a screenshot. This is the ABC who rounded me up for actually daring to actually interview someone who is antisocial in the eyes of everyone. I got branded and asked to be removed from the AFL. Louis Theroux, they put an hour show on the ABC. You cannot make this shit up.
I know.
I wonder if the media watched that dreadful, bland little man with the sunken eyes, and whoever does media watch looks down with the cow eyes and that feigned indignation, looks down and said, "Oh, Sam Newman trying to make himself relevant," and you can't make it up. It's extraordinary.
I know. No,
Yeah.
I think the more people, and the people that listen to this podcast, Sam, will understand that, and anyone with half a brain understands where you're coming from. Anyone that understands it, you're not highlighting the fact that you want to speak to them is because you've seen them on the news 20 times.
I got rung yesterday by someone said, "Did you interview a man who said he didn't believe that Port Arthur was a bloke called Paul Moda?"
Yeah, what was that? Was he a conspiracy theorist?
He was.
And how'd that go, by the way?
I got belted for that. They said, "What about the people who unfortunately lost their lives?" I said, "What? This man said he believed he has investigated for 8 years, said it wasn't as it appeared, and there's something else going on."
Are you a conspiracy theorist?
No, I was incredulous. I said, "Mate, he has got a documentary coming out about it." So I was interviewing about it, and then they said, "What about the people's families who are Walter Meekak?" I said,
what about all the TV shows, just to back up what you're saying, what about all the TV shows, the conspiracy theorists that talk about September 11, they talk about the moon, they talk about just about everything, they talk about Donald Trump shooting in the ear. Everyone's got a theory about everything that goes on in this world, and there's conspiracy theorists everywhere, and they are interesting.
And he was interesting, and if you think, I said, "Mate, where do you get all this stuff from?" I was pushing back at him, but I gave him a voice. He was articulate. He said, "No, this is what we've researched." And then they've ramped me up for not having any sensitivity about the people who lost loved ones. I said, "That's got nothing to do with it." Of course, I'm just...
The thing about conspiracy theorists, and they are very good at convincing people. They are articulate, they are smart, and they do get evidence to go against what we all believe actually happened, and they're very good and they're very convincing, and you hear it a lot, and sometimes you sit there and you actually question yourself, and you have to snap yourself back into it and check yourself and go, "No, that's just
right.
Can't
it's like
be
the
true."
bloke with the Nazis, like the bloke with the conspiracy theory at Port Arthur. I didn't agree with any of it, but I just asked them the question.
Yeah, good. I'll have to listen to that one.
It's on. Look, what is it on?
I reckon my younger brother,
Paul Moda,
memory.
Is it Moda? Yeah.
Yeah, my younger brother from memory had a conspiracy theory about that too, and I remember grabbing him by the scruff of the neck, as you could, with your younger brother, and telling him to wake up to himself. But they are.
So Wayne, we get a lot of comments, very good comments about you, and the bloke said, "You keep speaking about Trump. Why don't you get someone on who disagrees with you and have a debate with them?" I said, "Mate, you wouldn't believe the number of people," Sue can verify this, I asked people who are climate activists, who are wind turbine activists, who are politicians like Lydia Thorpe, I've asked her to come on, Trump opponents, I've asked people who are trans athletes to come on here and to have a sensible chat about what my opinion, but no one will come on. So it's not from lack of trying. I don't like to just keep talking about to people who agree with me or what I say, but we ask...
I don't agree with everything you say, do I?
No, and this is what people actually like, Wayne. Yeah. They do, because you're your own man, and you've got me intimidated. Fancy you intimidating me. I wonder if I'll have a different opinion to the boy. No, it's fantastic. So I tell you, you can't win. I know they round me up. I'm not whinging. I wouldn't have it any other way. But if I'm clickbait, or as Seb said, we're shitheads, or we're shitbait, aren't we? Or what he called me? I think the word's clickbait, Seb. Anyhow, if everything I do...
You've had a good month, haven't you?
Oh.
You've had I reckon, what, 6 weeks? You've had a very good 6 weeks.
No, I've had. Oh, it's extraordinary. So
now, when you're in Perth, what other topics off the back of that have you got there that we can? And we'll talk some footy.
I wanted to talk about the football.
Yeah, we will talk some footy, but we're 30 minutes in now. So if you want to finish on this, and then we'll get into a footy chat in a separate. Is that how you want to do it?
Yeah. So I noticed the Victorian government. We are laughed at in the rest of Australia, this state and this city, this government here. I see they have spent the Sam Kerr clause. Have you seen that come out?
The Sam Kerr.
The Sam Kerr clause. It's about vilification, and they have got a whole new. I just talk about the priorities. Talk about the priorities.
Hang on, what do you mean the Sam Claw? So that's hard to get out. Sam Kerr clause.
Sam Kerr clause. Jesus, Sue, if I can't find this, I just put the Victorian government. This is what they're wasting their time with.
You're not having a go at Sam Kerr.
Not at all.
No.
The Victorian government has articulated this as an inclusive approach means this is about free speech. All Victorians be protected against vilification and hate for who they are, the faith they follow, where they come from, and who they love or care for. So that's saying if you're LGBTQ or you're an indigenous... what would you? So they waste their time on all this. It goes on and on and on, and it's called the Sam Kerr clause because new legislation. I tell you, if the Victorian government could concentrate, perhaps, on concentrate on the judicial system and not giving people bail, law and order. There's more smash and grab raids. There's more people in hoons on cars. There's more people being macheted and beaten half to death. If the Victorian government could concentrate on getting some major projects fixed and finished and get our state back into a reasonable state of spending without all that bullshit, they are honestly the most incompetent people, and we are in this country, in this city, putting up with it.
I'll tell you what else, Sam, and you'll get a laugh out of this. So the other day, took Carter and Jess and little Cole, and we went down to St Kilda because apparently there's penguins at St Kilda. Did you know that?
No, they haven't been eaten by people.
There's penguins at St Kilda. So you walk to the end of the pier there, right up near where that gentleman that was wearing the Trump hat and wasn't allowed that area. So that pier. You walk up the end and there's meant to be penguins there. So went up there, had a nice dinner, and thought I'll wander up to the end there. By the time I got up the end, I needed a wee, and there's no unisex toilets up the end. There was something else. I didn't know whether I was allowed to go in there, or it was
the end of the toilet.
Yeah, it was not male, female. It was there was some other. People were lining up, but no one was going into this particular toilet, and that's because I assume there was no one there that identified as that particular person. So we have a particular toilet. It was just ridiculous. So I had to line up. I nearly peed myself. And the other thing, the reason why I nearly peed myself, because there was no bloody penguins there. That's why. You had all these people lining up 24 deep looking for penguins. I got Carter. He's going, put me on your shoulders, Dad, because I was probably the tallest person. So I've got Carter on there. So he's 8 foot tall. And he's going, and he's yelling out, where are the penguins?
They've probably been culled by people coming and beating them to death and eating them.
Anyway, so we were there, and I'm going, righto, because for me, 2 minutes is about it. No penguins, we're off. And I get, just wait a little bit longer, Wayne, have some patience. I'm sure there's going to be a penguin, and people are holding their phones up as if they can see a penguin. If you're going to advertise there's penguins there, get some bloody penguins there.
That's it.
Open that particular toilet up to the general public so that people don't have to line up to do a leak. When there are plenty of toilets there, but one for a particular identification and one for the rest. It was just ridiculous. Ridiculous. You should be allowed to go. If there's a line-up and you're busting for a pee, you're allowed to go into that one. I've been into the disabled toilets before.
I'm sure you have. Now, Wayne.
Have you?
Oh, absolutely. We used to go in and rack them up there. You'd come out as though someone had thrown a bag of flour at you.
You know what? You know it's funny. You know what I deliberately do sometimes.
Particularly at the Brownlow.
I'll tell you what I deliberately do sometimes. And it's a deliberate thing. When I do go into the disabled toilets and I need a number 2 and I just sit in there and I do it the number 2 and I just let it fester for a little while. I let it brew so that when I walk out, people know that I was actually in there to go to the toilet. Sometimes I don't even flush because I just want people to know that I actually went to the toilet.
I think they'd rather think that you're in there doing coke rather than having a crap.
You go. Anyway, I do like, I've told you, unisex toilets, that makes sense, unisex toilets. You can just all go into...
Yeah, no, it's great. Having a woman go in who looks good, farting and pissing in the cubicle next to you while you're having a piss, I think that goes over well.
Unisex toilets are good.
Now, Wayne.
Yes.
So you just said something then, Christopher, that was about...
But anyway, if there's no penguins, get a couple of stuffed ones, sit them in the rocks, stick their little head up.
That's it.
Make out like they're there. So at least when people take a photo...
So if you went over to the North, what's the football club? North Beach Football Club and said that wouldn't align with their values of DEI, you know, because you've bagged people who go into different toilets.
No, I said you should be allowed to go in there.
Of course you should, and that's every 99% of people would agree with that.
If you're dying for a week, what about you go to the races? You go to the races during the spring, and funnily enough, there are a lot of people that need a poo. There's no one needs a wee.
Ain't you,
a lot of people need a poo. It's and I often walk straight past the big lineup and I go, oh, geez, a lot of people ate Mexican or a bit of chili last night.
And do you know what they've stopped doing? They used to have lids that come down over the bowl. Now so you can't mash your Coke up on top of the lids. You know that, don't you?
I wasn't talking about that.
I know you weren't. I'm just telling you that's what they do.
What I was saying is that it's amazing when you go to the races how many people need to do number 2s instead of number 1s. And, you know, they're drinking beer and they're drinking champagne all day, but for whatever reason it must go straight through them. Yeah. And they don't need a wee.
No, they don't need a wee. They need the lid to come down on top of the pan.
It's just funny. I think it's funny.
Yeah, I wonder if they search for drugs when you go into... they missed the blokes with the 2 handguns in at the MCG. I wonder if they search for drugs or anything.
Oh, Sam. Sam. No, not you. Just make sure you have a collared shirt on next time and put the proper footwear on and you'll be right.
Yeah, no.
Read the rules.
Stop
trying to bend rules all the time.
So have a listen to this. This is the world we live in. I watched the bloke announce this. There is South Australian Commissioner for South Australian Police, a bloke called Grant Stevens. They've gone... Steve, yeah, Smeetsy said every time you want to go down to Ralph Smeets, Smeetsy, he said, come down, bring that people mover and you'll load it up with more beef you've ever seen. I won't be here Friday. Smeetsy, we'll go and see. So this is Grant Stevens said... the Commissioner for South Australia Police, they're on a recruiting drive and they are recruiting international people to come over. They will have a great salary and they'll pay the cost of their permanent visas for the person they're recruiting and their family. You couldn't recruit people who live in Australia to be in the South Australian Police Force, could you? What's the unemployment rate? But they're asking people internationally to come over, apply to be in the South Australian Police Force. We'll grant you a visa for you and your family, and we'll give you a great wage. What is going on? Is that a policy from a South Australian Labor government?
That's not going to get.
Well, that was an advertisement. I'll show it to you on the phone.
But an advertisement, but that hasn't been passed, has it? That's not happening.
Well, he couldn't do that if he's the South Australian Police Commissioner. He can't advertise that. That's false advertising.
No. So he's advertised it, but which is that Labor, Liberal? Who's advertising that?
Oh well, who's the South Australian government is a Labor man, isn't he? I don't know, but it doesn't matter who it is. Fancy having to recruit international people and jump the queue, give them a visa and their family.
Well, maybe that. Well,
to be a copper in South Australia.
They obviously haven't got enough people applying.
Well, how about they have,
but I don't think they should be going about it that way.
Recruiting drive and advertise
they probably should.
People to join the force.
Well, they probably should do that. Maybe they've done that and it hasn't worked. But I'm not sure about getting people from overseas and giving their whole families a visa. Just
that's what he said.
And
what about the man who lost his pre-selection because he didn't think women should be in a combat role in the army, in the armed services? What do you think of that?
What do I think of women being in the armed services?
Yes. He lost his pre-selection for that.
I think that there are women that can be in the armed services.
There is.
Yeah.
As long as they're physically capable,
well, it's like everything else. You've got to pass certain tests,
and should the men.
Correct.
So
having passed those tests. By the way, I would say this
having
about
underweight, feeble men come into the armed forces, they shouldn't be in either.
No, there's a lot of. I think that a lot of the testing for not the armed force, but the police force and even it's very hard to get into the fire brigade. A mate of mine's just got into the fire brigade. Like there's a massive lineup to get into there. And there's so many boxes you got to tick, but one of the boxes that they don't tick hard enough for me for those industries is the physical side of things. I think exactly the test should be more difficult. I think you should have to run the 100 under whatever their time is. I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's that high. Like at 53, I think I could probably pass the physical for all of those things right now. So I'm just saying, and at 53, you probably shouldn't be able to pass them, is what I'm saying. So if you're joining the police force at a young age, there should be or the fire brigade or any of those things where you need to be physically fit and strong, and maybe that should be higher. Once again, I don't know the exact criteria. I just, from memory, reading it a while ago, maybe it's changed, but reading it a while ago, I think that the standard could go higher. But maybe that's why they don't have that. Maybe that's why there's a shortage of people going to be in the police force, because maybe the standard is too high for some people that are applying. Is that what you think? I don't know. But
this is all to do with DEI, diversity, equity and inclusion. People get jobs on who they are, what their gender is, as opposed to what their merit is.
You've got to be able to pass the test.
The three people who were head of the Californian during those bushfires, you know what I'm going to say there?
Yes, you've told me.
What were they?
I don't know.
The three heads were women who were lesbians who got their jobs for that very reason. And one of them said when they got there, they weren't physically capable of carrying someone out of a burning building because they weren't strong enough.
Yeah, but if there's different roles within those industries that you can play, but initially, when you first apply for those positions, you've got to pass a certain amount of tests. Yes. Then, once you get into that position, then you can go into other areas of...
Lots of substandard men get into these positions 100%
too. 100% they do. No, that's what we're talking about.
Yes, we are. We're not saying it's gender-based.
No, it's not gender-based.
We're saying it's merit-based.
We're saying that maybe the test... But, once again, maybe the test isn't high enough. Or maybe it's too high, which is why there's a shortage on people applying.
Yes, absolutely. Fancy.
I'm not sure I'd get in.
Getting international, you'd get in. Fancy I think international recruiting international coppers from overseas and giving them visas for them and their family.
Hang on, international? Are they already police officers overseas?
No, they
would have to come here.
I'll get you the ad.
No, don't worry about it. Move on.
Move on. All right. And Nifty Nick, the Lord Mayor, he started a fitness regime. I notice he's implemented this himself. The person sitting opposite me was on his ticket to try and get into shape. Well, no, because he hasn't got back to it. He's okay to campaign with her, and when he got in, I think he's
he's forgotten.
That old Nifty Nick,
that old chestnut.
Yeah, that old chestnut.
You get in and forget.
That's right. That's like me going down and helping Sam Groth get elected down into then him not coming on because he thinks I'm a Nazi. Well, he doesn't. In fairness, the Liberal Party said, "Oh no, you can't come on there. I interviewed a Nazi." He should go on the ABC and see Nick the Thoreau, whatever that bloke is named, spending an hour going to a Nazi's house and eating with them and chatting about Nazis and how they live and what their attitudes are. Yeah, he should do that. Maybe the ABC could interview Sam Groth.
I just noticed you got a painting up there from Chopper.
Yes.
If Chopper, did you ever do? You would have interviewed Chopper before.
I haven't
before
interviewed
he passed.
him, but
there you go. Well, he's a notorious. He was a notorious criminal, as they say, but he was on more shows, wrote books. He did all sorts of stuff, and he was made out to be. He was almost made out to be a modern day Ned Kelly.
I know he was,
and yet. It would be like you. Anyway, the reason why I bring that up is because I just noticed the Ned Kelly painting,
got
the Chopper.
Nice written on the back of it. He's got a very nice letter he wrote on the back of it. To me. There's a very, very good story about Chopper Reid.
Do you like the art? What did the art? How did he go with his art?
Well, do you like that? Of course you don't like it.
I don't. To be honest with you, I don't mind it.
Don't you?
I don't mind it.
Well, I have it there because that's his. He identifies as that's his art. That,
I don't mind.
To me, is not.
I actually don't mind. I don't mind.
Just
it. There's something about it.
The way his brain works, and that's why it's there. Someone said that's worth quite.
He missed the mouth on the red one.
Oh, he probably missed everything on it.
Well, because he's got like the Ned Kelly mask on.
Very good story.
But he's missed the mouth on one of them, hasn't he?
A very good story about Chopper Reid. He used to go around with Mark Jackson and Peter Bazzusto, who is very ill at the minute, took the mark of the year in 1981 and in the so he's not well, Peter. But they used to go around, and Mark Reid thought that he was being dudded at the door, because they split the thing, and they were having a bit of a chat in the room after the show. And he couldn't work out how they'd taken so much money and he'd been given so little. And in the end, he took a handgun out and he pointed it either at Mark Jackson, or Peter Bazzusto, and he put the gun. Almost put it in their mouth. He said, "You get the figures right in the next 5 minutes, or there'll only be two of us here left in the room." And did they scramble for the figures? And they sorted it out, and they said, "Yes, well, I think we've miscalculated here." A fantastic story. I think Mark Jackson actually told me that, or maybe he didn't. Someone who was his manager at the time told me that they were in the room.
Anyway,
I can tell you who told me that, but I won't.
We're not condoning pointing a handgun, but we're
oh no,
just
it's all right if you go to the MCG to watch
you're allowed
the footy.
To have one there.
Oh
of course.
a couple. It's two of them.
Take a couple in there.
All right. Well, now I'm going to get. I'm going to stop, and then we're going to get onto your comfort zone because I've got a lot of questions to ask you about the football.
Good.
So well done. Well done. There we are. What am I doing, Sue? I'm pressing that there, aren't I? That one.
Yep.